As a school student, children have plenty to worry about, and come exam time, the anxiety levels just shoot up. Maybe not for all. I'm describing this from my own personal experience. First, you have the worry of preparing for each subject. Then, when in the classroom, you face a tense time when you have to look to ensure you have bought your pens, pencils, ruler, eraser, etc. If you forget even one of these, panic sets in. Now, mind you, I am talking about students in school that are roughly in the age group of 8 to 16. You have several things running in your mind even before you get to the examination hall about meeting expectations, both personally and, more importantly, in many cases, the expectations of one's parents. Now imagine this scenario. You have managed to contain your anxiety, you have prepared well for the exams, and you sit down in the examination hall as you wait for the teacher or invigilator to start handing out the question paper. But wait, you have forgotten your answer sheet. Well, those from my generation or the ones before never had to worry about this, because even before the question paper is given out, the school authorities ensure that you have your answer sheet or booklet in hand when you arrive at the examination hall. But this may not be the case for class 5th, 8th and 9th students of Karnataka if the new rule of the DSEL, short for Department of School Education and Literacy, comes into effect. Yes, the DSEL has asked the students to get their own answer sheets. DSEL is the government authority that has been conducting board exams for classes 5th and 8th since 2022-23, where they have been providing both answer sheet and question paper. But this time, they have asked the students to bring their own answer sheets. BJP has also raised concerns about this, and the BJP leader Tejasvi Surya took this to his X account and lashed at Siddaramaia's government. He said, "This government is in complete mess and has lost the dignity to continue in office." This has raised concerns, and I myself have so many confusions. With me today we have Mr. Santosh Avanavar, a writer and journalist, to discuss about this new development of the Karnataka government.
Sir, as you know, my first question is that now the burden of bringing an answer sheet is on the students now, and how ridiculous is this rule? So when I was a kid, when I was going to school, we did not have 3 board exams. 10th board exam was the thing, and we were scared at that point of time. Now students have to write 3 board exams. That's one stressful thing, and with that, now they have to bring in their own answer sheets. So what do you think about this new rule, sir?
Yeah, before I answer your question, probably let's understand why do we need exams, right? Or board exams specifically. There are 5 points according to me. One is we look at standardizing the process so that uniformity is brought among students. Second, we try to look at an assessment where again an uniformity is brought, where students are helped to understand the skills and knowledge and so on, assessed in the same level. Third is we are trying to give them a particular scoring pattern, so that in that way that education institution further for higher education, for employment and various other stakeholders can be helped through that process. And the fourth reason is we want to have quality assurance, so that it looks helping students to go through the same evaluation process across the state, at least not across India in case they are from state board and so on. So the final point is to education department help them to benchmark to become better over every years. So to begin, a very interesting question you asked me about ridiculous, right? Yeah, it did shock me to read a statement something like that, because I feel that asking students to bring an answer sheet is like taking away the essence of the way the board exam is supposed to happen, because you're trying to bring uniformity. Now you're telling to bring an answer when the question lies is okay, even different block is going to bring different kind of question papers. So now, how many pages do I require? Can I bring any sheet? Do I bring rule sheets? So there are so many questions which are going to lie among parents, and because the exam is just, I think Mondays it is going to start from 11th onwards. I think it is a very short duration for parents, especially may not be children of grade 5 and 8 may not be very much affected, but whereas the parents will definitely affect, and that stress might get transferred to the children. So somewhere I feel that this kind of an idea of allowing students to carry is probably not right? Because I feel government of Karnataka has allocated about 12% of money for education. I think that I feel there's enough fund for supplying answer sheets. So this did shock me, and I feel that policymakers should assess the effectiveness of such policies bringing at a junction when the exam is going to be held. That I think that was not a very promising move by the government, and in turn, I feel it will affect and create a chaos for students, and especially parents will get panic situation, because for them board exam is a way to look and understand the child's growth in education.
Exactly. So that's how they, measure how good their students are. At least most of the parents have that mindset. If you are good at the education, then you are good at everything, is what we feel also. But my
Right.
next question is that, so we have so much of stress right now. Like when I was a kid, I was very good at it, good at studies, and my only aim was to get good scores, and when we did not have to worry about bringing in answer sheets. I remember that my next question is another problem here that we have, that the government has asked to all the school masters, headmasters, is that to be all the answer sheets should be uniform. How is that possible? Then they have to give some contract to one shop vendor there, and you have to go take the answer sheet right there. And kids also have these things. Okay, I want the same sheet like what she is having, and I will go to the same shop, is what happens. And parents also will have a whole lot of burden on them as well. So how do they bring in that uniformity is the question, sir.
I think it's going to be chaotic. I don't think it's going to bring uniformity, because we have hardly like Thursdays, Saturdays, 2 days I have, Friday is again holiday, and Sunday brings again another holiday, and then the students cannot be asked to do this exercise, trying to find. And then I think in the examination day or in the examination hall, I think students might see a lot of disparity of everybody having a different kind of papers, and then I think the invigilator and examiner is going to have a tough time trying to sort it out, put them in a pattern, and then pin them up, and then take it for examination hall. So I think it's going to be a lot of deliberation, something which I think government shouldn't have asked a move like this. I feel that there's going to add a lot of stress to the children, because there's already an examination is one stress, and next is an academic expectation is other stress. So I'm likely seeing outcomes that are going to be an anxiety among children. There's going to be a little frustration, and also students might feel very inadequacy about having different kind of answer sheets. And sometimes if they feel that I don't have enough answer sheet, so especially lower grade children might think that I cannot write. That thought process might come. I'm not very sure whether an invigilator will have a right to go and see whether the child has written all the answers for all the questions. Because the child might think, okay, I don't have paper, so I can't write, so I didn't know what to write. Where do I write? And then eventually has led to an outcome of not able to finish the whole paper. So we're going to see a very chaotic outcome, I believe, because of this process, because invigilator need not be a subject teacher. And so I don't think it's going to be a promising move as an examination point of view. Yeah.
So true, sir. And also you were mentioning about how teachers and the invigilator is going to have a tough time. I'm sure they're going to have I think that they're going to have a tough time, because this time after the examination, the answer sheets will be corrected in block level according to the notification. So back then it was all uniform, and they just had to check roll numbers and correct the papers. And now each paper will be very different, and I think there will be a lot of confusions right there as well during the correction of paper. So what is your opinion on that, sir?
Yeah, it's going to add a layer of complexity and potential for unfairness for the board exam, which is supposed to be a very fair, given opportunity for everybody to participate. Everybody gets equal access of content. Everybody gets the same question paper and answers number of scripts. So there's going to be I'm sure, a very complex and very unfair way of going to an assessment format, because invigilator is going to have one tough time. The assessment people are going to be looking at different sheets at different pattern written. And I think it's going to be an consequence, I think, which is not going to be promising, I feel.
Yeah, so true. And also, you were talking about 12% of this year's budget has been set for education, and also it also feels it is not about financial crisis of the state government, but other factors also comes into play now. For example, now the kid goes and asks the parent to get them answer sheet, and we know the mentality or mindset of rural parents. If some small issue happens, they come to school and charge the teachers and school principal for whatever the scenario might be. And now it will be pressure on parents as well to make sure that the kids go with the answer sheet to the examination hall. So talking about the parents aspect and parents angle to this story, what do you think?
I would say this is a very short duration for a lot of parents to pool of money in case they have to give it to even to a school, and school has to find a vendor and then bring it up. Like for some of us, we might think it is few hundred rupees, right? This is what a big deal, but that is what has been already taken as examination fee from the school through students and or through an activity, right? So or there is a fund which is already allocated for the examination. So if that is case, I feel this raises questions about the government's priorities and the resource allocation which was promised and then debunking the promise. So I'm not very happy with the idea of changing the priorities like this, and especially when it has to do with an well-being and academic success of students. So I think the parents will not be very welcoming this thought, and I think this will in turn I see that going to impact students opting for state board if this is going to be chaotic like this further, or any other boards if they create chaotic, because education is very process and streamlined work. It cannot happen randomized.
So true.
So I don't think it's a welcome call.
Yeah. And also there is a fear of cheating also that comes into play here, sir. There are so many different ways of cheating, and these people come up with very unique ways, and they just write it with the empty pen and it can just trace the words, and you can do that as well now. So there is that aspect also coming in. So your opinion on that?
Yeah, and we know in India, like a lot of cases are there in potential cheating in exams, and it has been a valid concern for people who rigorously study and go write exams, and people who look at education as a very important success tool. So it is going to affect the students who are around, because who have not been trying to cheat, they also will be probably checked rigorously. I think students will probably be asked come to examination hall much prior to otherwise, like before they would ask to come like 30-40 minutes before examination. I think now they might have to be at least an hour, right, so that the invigilator checks every sheet of paper which has been carried. It's not going to be easy, it's going to be a painful process for people, but I think because they have to abide to the policy which they have, or the decision they've taken. So there will be some amount of an deliberation the invigilator has to do it and cross-check. It is not going to be easy one way, but I don't know whether in the block level how much block officers will take care of such practices are controlled. So, or another way, you see that you are unnecessarily giving an opportunity for people to use this as a mechanism for misusing in writing exam through cheat papers or something like that.
Yeah, we have actually seen instances, even though they were giving answer sheets before, when I was in 10th and all, there were cheating happening. And in my place, when in my rural area it was, and we knew, okay, if you fell in this school, you'll get a good marks, because the teachers right there are so lenient, and definitely she'll get a good marks is what we used to think. And now I think it's added advantage for people who is willing to take education lightly and just want to go chill in the examination hall. They can do anything they want to do with these answer sheets, and the invigilator will never know sometimes. And yeah, my next question is, how much are these Karnataka government is going to save from not providing answer sheets is the question, after spending all the money on guarantees. And it is questionable that are they putting the students in a tough place, are their lives in jeopardy is the question.
This is I would feel that I think there's no relation between the freebies again versus the money they should have spent for this, or money which is belongs to from the students and from the allocated already money which should go. It looks like the priorities are displaced, and education looks like not being taken very seriously. With indicators something like this, this would also mean that there are parents and students will start thinking that should they continue with the same board, or should they move to different boards in case, because there's an additional expense for purchasing an answer sheet is a significant financial burden for a lot of parents. It's not easy. It looks like simple for a lot of people who are working well or well to do, but if you go to a rural setup or village setup, you'll see that every few rupees does matter to them for their well-being. I think the government would not save anything large money in this, because it is money which is already allocated. So it is, if they're going to use this money, I think somebody should question the government. Okay, you're taking this X money, where this money is going to, and I think they should be able to prove it that this money is gone somewhere. So so I feel there's a lot of disparities which is widening by taking such decisions, and not setting great example, because I feel students, and especially students, not even parents, I think they should not go through this kind of an uncertainty just before examinations are due.
So true. And also, where some parents do have a choice to switch to other boards, but there are lakhs of students studying in government school as well. We have to think about these people. They choose government school because they can't afford for schools which has so much high payments, high admission fees and all those things. But what about them? For those people, each and every penny matters in that sense. Yes, and also, as you said, I think it's about priorities for the government, where to save money and where not to put in too much of budget or money which they are going to spend. Yeah, that also comes into play. That's pretty much it, sir. Do you have anything else to add on to? Please go.
Yeah, I think any decisions they take, I think it should be very rational, and they cannot be alpha, beta, gamma sitting in one room and take a decision. I don't think that is the way you look at education or anything else that will be taken, because stakeholders' involvement is very important. Looking at the magnitude of population we have it, and as you rightly said, there is also a lot of population requires the government schools and colleges because of various factors of their own. It's not necessarily about money, but it's also about accessibility. Or a girl child is not allowed to go to another schools which is far away from the home for various reasons like this. I think it's essential for authorities to consider the holistic impact on students. Particularly, I think the school is one place where you're trying to help a child to bring a mental well-being and access to education. That those two things happens in school. I think it is very important that the government works towards it and helps the students bring a holistic impact. Especially these two factors, because you're trying to help child by giving food. Through the food, you're trying to bring the well-being of a child, and through this, you're helping a child to access to education. In turn, the child is going to come back to country and support in various forms. I think they need to look board exams with all fairness. It cannot be an half fairness. So there is nothing like half fair and lovely. It has to be full fair and lovely for somebody to get it.
And now fair and lovely, we can't say it's fair and lovely. It's racism in right now. So yeah, that is also there. There are different aspects to it. And one more thing here is that I think this new rule can also, it's just my analysis, I don't know, please correct me. This will be an added advantage to private schools to increase their admission fees. They might say, they might decide to increase the fees by saying, okay, we will give you the answer sheet. Now the government is not giving us, so you have to pay us more. That's one thing. And this can be one more reason to, to closing up of so many other government schools as well. People can just, students and the parents can just decide to drop out of the school just because they have to spend more. We'll never know. These two might be the two reasons, which affects on the students and parents as well. So, yes.
Yeah, any policy which is not helping child for well-being and for access for education, you can look for any policies across the world. I think they will drop in education, number of students going from primary to high school to college, and there's already a drop in various countries because of various other factors too. So as you mentioned, that is true, and eventually what will happen is the government schools will close down, and then you don't have to hire teachers, because at least in government schools, I think teachers are hired with required qualification, minimum required qualification. Whereas the private schools, there is jugglery of having yes and no kind of attitude. But whereas government school, at least we know that teachers come with qualification at least, and then a lot of teachers also might hard work because they see that these children need support. Some of them might go out of the way to help the child. So I think we are going to miss a lot of population not getting educated, and give this is how the policies are going to come, this is how decisions are going to be taken. I think eventually a not good sign for India in case we take decisions with not even testing it with a lot of carefulness. But I think I don't know what was the reason behind not giving an answer papers for writing exams, which is a board exam. This looks. I think any school generally gives even booklets for even simple test.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think they're saving a lot of money to put away, but I think they are, as you rightly said, there could be a possibility of a way to reduce the government.
Actually,
schools.
I was talking to one of the government school teacher from my place, and when he said, yeah, there should be an uniformity. If they had given more time, we could have collected the answer sheets from the students themselves before in hand, and we could have distributed it on the day of exam. But this is so last minute, they're not even able to collect the answer sheets from the students, and they can't ask them to go to the same place and buy the same uniform answer sheets. It's, I don't know, like you said, I don't have a word to describe this particular rule made by Karnataka government. We'll see how it goes.
I think the asking headmaster to arrange this is, I don't think it is something fair ask, I feel, because this is not something told to them ahead of time, because now indirectly you're asking headmaster to spend money, or the teachers to spend money. I think that's not right ask, I feel. I think somewhere, as I always believe, such policies which is taking closed doors are not an positive move for the especially students going to be.
This can just be a experimental kind of thing for government as well. We'll see how it goes the next year.
But why such experiment is not required? That's what I see.
I don't think government should experiment with something like this with education. Children, especially the lower education, where children of that age will not understand. If you don't fix those in early age, I don't think we will likely going to see a lot of dropouts from boards, and then I think the government schools might get impacted. We can see that number of government school increasing will not be a possibility. It also would mean that we may not have a good teachers who should have been there in government sector, because across India, I think we need a lot of government schools and colleges to help a lot of people who need the support. There are a lot of instances where I've seen in rural setup where the girl child is not allowed to go to towns to study or to go to city, which still exists in practices. So for them, at least this is a blessing in disguise. So I think the stakeholders who are involved in all this should raise voice and ask the government to be accountable for what they're taking actions. It is a right of every citizen of this country to get a fair access for education. And if they don't do it, I think we should knock the doors of courts.
Yes, definitely. I think the government is just giving one more opportunity for the opposition to just get trolled every day and each day, as you might know about this. So I think this is one more opportunity for the opposition party also to make a big deal out of this as well. So we'll see how it goes, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
But on the outset, as an educator, or I see it as from a point of view when I work with children, I think it's important that we give as much as possibility for a child for access to education, especially in a public setup, because we know where do we stand. And if a private school says this, I'm fairly okay to a certain degree. I say, okay, the parents will be able to make some decisions, they'll be able to pull in something and then solve the problem. But the government setup, like, how many of us can get up and go and solve this today, right? So it is hard problem. So I think government should never forget the priorities of what they're doing with children, because in case we don't give a right education, they are going to be impacting on mental health. In turn, the citizens may not be a great contributors for the nation back. I think we are misplacing what we should be placing it back to them.